Good morning, friends. This is Lee Kersey, the Simple Georgian. Not doing a whole bunch today. Uh, Not even having a pipe or a cigar. Ate breakfast with my son this morning and sat there and done. Didn't even have the big cup of coffee like I normally do. I just had a smaller cup. Just taking it easy. I've been tossing and turning all night. Been up half the night. I don't know if I've got too many things on my mind. It's not stressing me out. It's just I got so much that I've got to get done, and my mind and everything is overloaded. Go figure, right? Anyway, I said I was going to make a video about the post that I put on my YouTube channel the other day, and this is more of the trucking side of things. If you look at the post, I had pictures of a set of drive tires. The front axle had the Michelin, I think it was X-Line drive tires, the fuel efficient tires, and the back axle had lugs. And the issue on that is you are killing your fuel mileage running a mixed match set of tires like that. And the lugs that the company had put on wasn't the same lug pattern for that whole axle. You had two of one type on one side, two on another. So you're killing your fuel mileage putting lugs on. Granted, the truck itself can get better fuel mileage, but when you have a mixed match set of tires and you got three different patterns, lug patterns or tread patterns, you're eating into your fuel mileage. It might not be but 25%, but 25% on heavy tractor trailer, it can add up pretty quick. You do that over several hundred trucks, or heck, even just one truck. It can make a big difference in your profit margin. Trucking companies operate on less than a 2% profit margin anyway. So there you go. The next thing that was on that post was the placement of the fifth wheel. And in some instances, I can understand the fifth wheel being all the way to the back. Because on the low boys, certain step decks, and the little short containers, the little 20-foot containers, you can grab the mud flaps and rip them off the truck. So in situations like that, you need the fifth wheel back. But the issue is on the axles, and I will show this in future videos on your axle weights. You're supposed to be 12,000 on the steer, 34 on the drives, 20,000 each drive, and 34 on the two tandems, or 20,000 per axle. So the more axles you have, you can put up to so many thousands of pounds. And in the container industry, 9 times out of 10, our home state, wherever we're based out of, like I'm based in Georgia, we normally get a annual permit for Georgia for each truck. And then of course you can buy annual permits for other states like Florida, Carolina, whatever. But normally they only buy a handful for Florida, Carolina, places like that. And then if you need them for other states, say like Tennessee, Alabama, you will buy per trip. But in Georgia, it's like $150 a year for an annual permit for the whole year. But anyway, the reason I'm saying that you want your fifth wheel center of the rear axles on the truck is your weight is distributed on the two axles. So you're splitting the 34,000 pound between the two axles if you're dead center. And so that means you've only got 17,000 pound per axle. And you're not at the 20. So if you have the fifth wheel all the way to the back or all the way to the front, if you have it to the front, you got more weight on the steer axle, which you don't want. If you got it to the back, you got it on that back axle, which would be overweight on the back axle. And in some states, when you cross the scale house, they have the scales per axle. And they can, according to the bridge law, they can actually write you a ticket for being over axle. You might not be over gross of the 80,000 pound, but you could be like 25,000 on the axle, and they can physically write you a ticket for being over the 20,000 on the axle versus over 34 between the two axles. So they use the combined weight of the axles, and they can write you a ticket for being over axles. So I don't like riding with my fifth wheel to the back because that's the way I was trained. A lot of the times, if you don't know, you don't know. But these companies and the people training these drivers need to teach these drivers this stuff because it can cost that driver a ticket and cost the company a ticket, cost CSA points, because now tickets, even warnings to the company and the driver, will give you CSA points. And so many CSA points, they will take your license or suspend your license, and you can't drive for a company. Companies look at CSA points because that affects their safety score and their insurance ratings. I got behind a guy the other day in the scales here in Georgia, right down from the house, and he pulled up on the scales, and they brought out the little wheel to measure, the measuring wheel. They used to do this with an actual tape measure, but now they're doing it with a wheel. And I'll make a more elaborate video on this, but on a trailer in Georgia, I know for a fact, you're supposed to be 41 feet from center of the kingpin, the little round thing that hooks to the fifth wheel, 41 feet from center of the kingpin to the center of the rear axle on your trailer. Now, having said that, on a container, you only have a 40-foot container. So, you cannot be 41 feet between the center of the kingpin to the center of the rear axle. So now you're over the bridge law because you're shorter than what your axles are designed for. And on a 40-foot container, you're approximately 2 feet from the front of the container to the kingpin and almost 3 feet from the back of the trailer to the center of the rear axle. If I'm not mistaken, I might have it backwards, but anyway, it's somewhere along in there. So you're within, 35 feet of center of the kingpin to center of the rear axle. So now you're over the bridge law. And this guy didn't have a permit, which he needed. He could have bought an annual permit for $150 for Georgia and had it for the whole year for his truck. But he got a ticket for the bridge law because he was overweight on the trailer and he was short of the 41-foot mark, center of the kingpin and center of the rear axle. So you got to be within your 12,000 on your steer, 34 on your drives, 34 on your trailer. But you got to be within 80,000, and you got to be within the bridge law as well. So you got 3 laws there that you've got to be in compliance with on a truck and trailer. And this guy wasn't. So anyway, he gets an overweight ticket for the bridge law. And that, in Georgia, the tickets is not that much, but the money he spent for that ticket, he could have bought an annual permit for, heck, I don't know, even $100 more. And he could have been covered for the whole year. So now He's got CSA points. He's got a ticket. The company's got CSA points. And he's got, they start looking at other things. They're going to look at his paperwork in his truck. They're going to look, they could possibly pull him over and do a level 1 inspection, level 2 inspection, whatever, find brake chambers, tires, oil leaks, wheel seals leaking, whatever. So you're putting yourself at risk by doing this. So it's better just go ahead and, of course, have a clean truck. It's better to go ahead and have the Georgia, annual permit and be within the law, because that annual permit gives you the right to override that bridge law, and you're covered. And it's not but $150. Why spend and take the risk of having a bridge law ticket, overweight ticket, and CSA points when all you got to do is just buy, $150 overweight ticket for the whole year? So that's what that was. And then, of course, you're saving money on the fuel by having the correct tires on the truck. And after the first of the year, I'm going to spend a bunch of time getting some more videos together on the trucking side. I'm not spending a ton of time with the pipes and cigars at the moment, just due to the holidays. I've got so much going on, and I don't know. It's I'm trying to do some transitions here. So anyway, having said that, and an update on the last video I made, I think it was, I was talking about the truck I was in. There were so many little minor things in the truck that I had going on that they decided to just pull the truck down, shut it down. They gave me a newer truck, and even at that truck had already been in a wreck. So now I've got, a newer truck, but it had been in a wreck, and they had to replace a hood on it. The lights aren't adjusted properly. So yeah. And they've already had to put a set of drive tires on it because they're wearing the drive tires out because of having the fifth wheel all the way to the back of the truck. So you got several things going on there that, drivers need to pay attention on these trucks. And they don't. So that's what the post was about with the drive tires. And it's all about business. You only have a 2% profit margin that you're working with. And if you're eating into that profit margin that much, you're spending more money than you're making, and you're going in the hole. You cannot, there is no business that you can spend excessive amounts of money and not go in the hole without having the money coming in to cover. And with a 2% profit margin, you're not going to cover them kind of expenses because you're losing it in fuel, you're losing it in revenue, you're losing it in tickets, you're losing it in CSA points because they can take your MCS number, they can take your DOT number, they can take your license. You can't get a job with companies if you got too many CSA points on your license. So it's just a big risk. So that's what the post was about. You're saving fuel with the proper tires, and you set your fifth wheel up and your trailer up to where you're not over the bridge law, on top of the fact that you're saving yourself time and tickets by getting an annual permit for your truck. So there you go. That's my Sunday ramble for today, and we hope to see y'all, if not before Christmas, right after Christmas. I hope y'all have a Merry Christmas. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And oh, by the way, on the pipes and cigars side, I'm in a group chat, and we're doing another box pass. This is the second group that I'm in that we're doing a box pass. I did not go through and show any of the box, but it was a pretty good sized box. I think we have like 30-40 groups or people in the group. So yeah, I'm going to pick the 2-3 things I want. I'm not going to show what's in the box because I don't want to spoil. I don't want to have a spoiler alert for the next people that gets it. I don't want to show what I'm putting in, which is exactly what I did with the box pass that I had from, I think it was 209 Piper or whoever that was. Uh, and in fact, that box, as I mentioned, there was a couple of things I was interested in, but I did not take anything out of the box. I just put a can of tobacco in and sent it on. I didn't take anything out of that box. Um, I've got so much tobacco, and most of it that they had in the box I already had a tin of, so I just added a tin and sent it on. I did not take anything out of it. There wasn't but two things I was interested in. One of them was a wax pipe roll, but I left that for somebody else. And there was a handmade item that I thought about getting, but I never did get it. So I just put a tin of pipe tobacco in and sent it on down the line. And now this one, I will get 1 or 2 tins of tobacco out of it and trade them out, and I'll send it on. And the 2 tins I decide to pick, I'll show it. And but yeah, I'll send this box on about Tuesday and let it go. And like I said, if I don't see y'all before then, have a Merry Christmas. And thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and hope y'all have a great day and a great week. Bye now.